Countless North Korean defectors set out on perilous journeys, driven by the hope of a brighter future, leaving behind a homeland afflicted by famine, political repression, and the absence of basic freedoms. Their quest for freedom, prosperity, and safety often leads them to South Korea, a nation that shares their language and culture. For many, South Korea appears to be the ideal destination to begin again, far from the oppressive grip of the North Korean regime. It seems like the perfect place where they can finally enjoy economic opportunities and personal freedoms. Yet the reality of life in South Korea often turns out to be far more difficult and complex than defectors had imagined. Rather than finding the promised land of freedom and success, they are met with daunting challenges. Many struggle with discrimination, cultural gaps, and the pressures of a competitive capitalist society. Surprisingly, some defectors even contemplate returning to North Korea, despite the extreme risks. In this video, we'll dive into why some defectors, after risking everything to escape, consider going back, and the obstacles they face when adjusting to life in South Korea. The story of North Korean defectors can be traced back to the mid-1990s, during a time when the country was crippled by famine, leading to widespread hunger and suffering. Many North Koreans fled to nearby China in search of food and temporary refuge. Unlike later defectors who sought permanent asylum, these early escapees often planned to return once they gathered enough resources to survive back home. The 1990s were marked by a severe humanitarian crisis in North Korea, with the government's strict control over the economy leaving many citizens with no means to support themselves. Initially, fleeing to China was seen as a temporary survival tactic. However, as the economic and political situation in North Korea continued to deteriorate, more defectors began seeking long-term refuge. South Korea emerged as their destination of choice, a place where they believed they could escape political repression and build a better life. However, as we'll see, starting over in South Korea comes with its own significant challenges. By the early 2000s, the landscape of defection had evolved. No longer were defectors simply looking for temporary safety. Instead, they sought permanent asylum in South Korea, driven by a desire for political freedom and a chance at a better life. South Korea, with its organized systems to welcome defectors and shared cultural ties, naturally became the top choice for those fleeing the North. At the same time, brokers, who facilitated these dangerous escapes in exchange for money, played a vital role in boosting the number of defectors. These brokers operated through intricate networks, helping defectors cross the border with minimized risk, provided they could afford the cost. Additionally, the spread of information about life outside North Korea, often fueled by economic activity and smuggling, exposed more people to the opportunities available in South Korea. Despite the initial relief and optimism many defectors feel upon reaching South Korea, the reality of adapting is anything but smooth. North Korea's strict socialist regime, where the government dictates every aspect of daily life, leaves defectors unprepared for the independence expected in a capitalist society. In North Korea, the state provided everything, from housing to employment to basic needs, meaning citizens were never responsible for their own decisions. In sharp contrast, South Korea's fast-paced, competitive capitalist system demands personal responsibility and self-reliance, which can be a huge shock for defectors. Many struggle to meet the demands of a capitalist economy, where success relies heavily on one's own initiative and efforts, an entirely new concept for those raised in a controlled environment. The cultural divide between North and South Korea adds another layer of complexity to the lives of defectors. Though the two nations share a common language, the differences in dialect are significant enough to make defectors easily recognizable. This often results in discrimination and social isolation, as defectors are immediately labeled as outsiders. Many South Koreans carry ingrained negative stereotypes about their northern counterparts, viewing them with suspicion, pity, or even outright disdain. Defectors often report being treated as second-class citizens, mocked for their accents, or even suspected of being spies. This social stigma only deepens the emotional and psychological toll on defectors as they struggle to rebuild their lives in an unfamiliar society. To help defectors navigate these challenges, the South Korean government has established a variety of programs designed to ease their transition into society. Upon their arrival, defectors undergo a series of medical examinations and in-depth interviews to assess their backgrounds and ensure they are not spies. Once they pass these screenings, they are sent to government-run facilities where they receive education on how to adapt to South Korean society. These centers, known as Hanawon, offer a safe and structured environment where defectors can learn essential skills for living independently in a capitalist system. The programs cover everything from managing personal finances to finding employment. Beyond the practical lessons, the facilities also provide recreational activities such as sports and field trips, giving defectors the opportunity to relax and acclimate to their new surroundings. The structured support provided by these facilities aims to equip defectors with the tools they need to survive and thrive in a drastically different world. But even with these programs in place, the road to integration is long and difficult. Once defectors complete their training, they are provided with public housing and financial assistance to help them settle into their new lives. The South Korean government offers a financial aid package that is distributed over 2 years, designed to help ease their transition into society. However, many defectors find managing these funds challenging, as they come from a system where the government controlled nearly every aspect of life. Lacking experience in personal financial management, some spend their money unwisely, purchasing luxury goods, undergoing cosmetic surgery, or falling prey to scams. Others struggle under the pressure of navigating a capitalist economy, resulting in debt and, in some cases, financial ruin. To mitigate these issues, local police officers are assigned to monitor defectors, offering guidance and support. But even with this oversight, many continue to face financial difficulties. Employment poses another significant hurdle for defectors. The skills and qualifications they acquired in North Korea often don't carry over to South Korea, leaving many unable to find work in their chosen professions. For example, a doctor from North Korea must undergo retraining and pass certification exams to practice medicine in South Korea. Consequently, many defectors are forced into low-paying, physically demanding jobs such as factory work or manual labor. Even those who manage to secure employment often face harsh conditions, including long hours and low wages. Studies reveal that the unemployment rate among defectors is significantly higher than that of native South Koreans, with many struggling to secure stable, well-paying jobs. This economic instability only adds to the challenges of starting over in an unfamiliar society. The emotional and psychological impact of these struggles can be overwhelming for many defectors. Having endured a harrowing escape from North Korea, they are then confronted with new challenges in South Korea: discrimination, social isolation, and financial hardship. These pressures often leave defectors feeling lost and hopeless. Depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, are common, and for some, the difficulties become so severe that they begin to contemplate returning to North Korea, despite the dangers. From 2012 to 2022, at least 31 defectors made the difficult decision to return. One notable case is that of Miss A, who lived in South Korea for 14 months. Despite working as a cleaner, her feelings of loneliness and isolation, coupled with a lack of support, drove her to desperation. She made several failed attempts to cross back into North Korea, and eventually succeeded, only to be apprehended by North Korean authorities. Beyond those who return to North Korea, some defectors seek refuge in other countries after leaving South Korea. By disguising their identities and posing as direct defectors from North Korea, Some attempt to gain asylum in nations like the United Kingdom, Sweden, or Canada. This has sparked diplomatic challenges, as these countries have had to deport defectors back to South Korea once the truth is discovered. The international community continues to face difficulties in navigating the complex issue of North Korean defection, as well as the ongoing challenges defectors experience when trying to rebuild their lives. While some North Korean defectors find success in South Korea, such as becoming politicians, entertainers, or YouTubers, the majority face significant struggles. Many defectors continue to deal with financial instability, social isolation, and emotional trauma, making it difficult to fully integrate into South Korean society. The transition from the North's controlled regime to South Korea's fast-paced capitalist system proves overwhelming for many, and they often struggle to manage finances or secure stable employment. Despite government support programs like Hanawan, where defectors receive education and vocational training, many still find it hard to adapt. North Korean qualifications are often not recognized in South Korea, forcing defectors into low-paying, labor-intensive jobs. Socially, defectors face stigma due to their dialect and background, leaving them isolated and marginalized. This isolation contributes to emotional and mental health struggles, with many defectors suffering from depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Shockingly, between 2012 and 2022, at least 31 defectors returned to North Korea, finding life in South Korea too difficult. Others have attempted to seek asylum in countries like the UK, Sweden, or Canada, but face deportation back to South Korea upon discovery of false identities. Still, there are success stories. Some defectors manage to build new lives and use their platforms to raise awareness about defection issues. However, for the majority, the road to stability is long and filled with challenges. As the international community becomes more aware of these issues, providing support for defectors is not just a humanitarian issue, but a vital step toward improving understanding between North and South Korea. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the struggles faced by North Korean defectors? Why do some choose to return, despite the risks? Share your insights in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more discussions on North Korean defectors. Thank you for watching.